Raw was in my neck of the woods last night at the Cajun Dome, and yours truly was there. Now, how was the show? Well, I'll tell you, as WGS-TV reviews Monday Night Raw for the week of June 12th, 2017. Hey, YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to work.
Hi, this is Leva Bates, a.k.a. Blue Pants, and you're watching WGS-TV.
What's up, guys? I'm the WrestleGamer. Welcome back to another episode of WGS-TV. Yes, WGS-TV is back right here on YouTube, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the WGS Arcade. Be sure you leave a comment below on how you thought. And joining me on the Raw review this week, ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the hardcore one himself, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Head. Rick, how you doing?
Well, you know, I'm doing all right. I went in for a small operation real quick, so my throat messes up here and there. You know why. But, you know, other than that, I'm doing great. HWR, we kind of changed the pace a little bit. We're now just a news and blog show.
So be sure you check them out on Facebook, and link will be in the box below. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, my decision last night to go to Monday Night Raw indeed was a last-minute decision, because originally I had no plans of attending the show due to my physical limitations right now. But I decided to go since the Cajun Dome staff allowed me to park my vehicle at the Dome instead of across the street at Cajun Field. And needless to say, that would have been too much for me to traverse if it was at Cajun Field. Had they said no last night, I would not have attended. But luckily for me, they did allow me. So now that I got that story out of the way, let me show you a couple of things that I got before we get on to the review. If you guys notice, I have a Hardy Boys pendant around my neck, and just to piss off a lot of you haters out there who apparently don't agree with the fact that I still think Roman Reigns is a good talent. He just needs to work on his mic skills a little bit, but he's good in the ring, and for his moveset, he works it as well as he can. So just to piss you haters off, I have some Roman Reigns gloves on for this review. So send me your hate. So with that being said, let's talk about Raw. Raw at the Cajun Dome last night with opened up with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman responding to Samoa Joe's actions from the previous week. I hate to say it, since a lot of you who know me and have been following my channel for the longest time, you guys know how I feel about Brock Lesnar and what kind of a talent I think he is. However, right now, Rick, one of the most interesting angles right now on Monday Night Raw is the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar angle.
You know what? Absolutely. I got to agree with you. You know, before I get back onto that, we knew there was rumors about Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar supposed to be having a fight. I'm guessing it got Great Balls of Fire, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. It gave Samoa Joe that spot to step up to the plate, and I think that's better because Samoa Joe has always been, whether he's been a heel or babyface, has been the type of person who doesn't back off from a fight. He's one of those type of heels that's really unconventional and untraditional, let me say. And when he had no problem walking right up to him and just start swinging. And most heels usually don't do that.
And I think one of the main reasons why I find so much interest in the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar angle is because of how similar both of these guys are in terms of size, movesets, and character. Now, the physical altercation with Joe and Lesnar was not only necessary for the development of their angle, but it was also really well done. I like the idea of having the whole locker room come out to separate these two, which is something we rarely see, and I believe the last time we saw something like that was with Lesnar and The Undertaker. I'm honestly looking forward to what they do with Joe and Lesnar at the aptly named pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire. Rick, I'm going to go ahead and score this a 3.75 out of 5.
Yeah, you know, definitely, I have to say, best segment of the night. The rest of the show is a little bland. But I want to make a quick note because the Great Balls of Fire. I don't know if you guys really looked at the new logo, but it should be called New Testicles on Fire because it looks like a big fucking ball sack with a dick. Or penis, or whatever it is, I don't know. Me, I'm R-rated, but I guess it's a PG-rated show, so...
No, it's not the fact. It's the fact that I've seen the logo, and it gives me a headache thinking about it. But anyway, opening match this week was the Drifter Elias Samson taking on Dean Ambrose. Samson did his usual spiel to get heat from the crowd, to which he did. Again, people, a heel's job in the wrestling industry is to get the fans to hate them, and Samson is doing a great job of it. However, as expected, the angle with Ambrose and Miz is far from over, as evidenced by Miz's appearance during the match, which would end up costing Lunatic Fringe the win. The finish of the match was Samson hitting the inverted neckbreaker on Ambrose to pick up the win, but this wouldn't be the last time we saw either Miz or Ambrose last night, and we'll definitely talk about that when we get to that point in the show. Rick, I'm going to go ahead and score this opening match at 3.5 out of 5.
You know what? I gotta completely disagree with you. What they're doing with Eli Sampson, the Eli Sampson concert, it hurts my brain. You know,
but isn't that what a heel's job is supposed to do?
No, it's not like where a lot of people hate. Let's use Roman Reigns. They just don't like him. They just hate him. I don't like Elias Sampson so far, just simply because he's not doing anything. It's like they're pushing him to be a jobber. You know, he did nothing in NXT, and he's doing very little or nothing here in WWE. And let's be honest, you know, first off, that move, it's a crossroads. If you watch, you know, and he really doesn't have any charisma. You know, it looks like he could be a good worker, but I think, again, that win was a distraction. It wasn't really a clean-cut win.
Yeah, well, again, I'm going along the lines of Samson doing his job as a heel, and that's why the fans hate him. The fans hate Roman Reigns. I have no idea. You know, they come up with the most ridiculous reasons ever. In fact, last night he was involved in a dark match against Bray Wyatt, and I actually heard people stomping out, "I refuse to watch Roman Reigns in a match because I know he's going to go over automatically." Gee, that kind of sounds like the same argument that people had about John Cena once upon a time. You know what I'm saying, Rick?
Yeah, but you know, I can understand why. That's probably why a lot of fans hate him, because they see him, you know, they were, you know, promoting him as going to be the next John Cena, you know. When Cena eventually does retire, or, you know, I don't know, he comes back and forth, and so I think that's the big issue. And it really, if you look back, it really started when Roman Reigns eliminated
The Undertaker.
Daniel Bryan. It started.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The chorus of boos. I remember that.
And since then, it was a downward spiral. So WWE's like, you know what? We want to piss off fans. Guess what? We're going to make it work. We're going to have him eliminate The Undertaker from you know, the Royal Rumble, and then we're going to have him retire The Undertaker. That's why fans are pissed, and the WWE is doing an awesome job with that.
Well, up next, it was Cedric Alexander taking on Noam Dar, who spent most of the time last night FaceTiming with Alicia Fox. Rick, can someone please explain to me why was this still a thing?
You know what? It was a joke. I love the Cruiserweight division, but that was one of the embarrassments of the night. And it was just, it was not needed. It was just stupid.
I will say this, though. Alicia Fox is very nice to look at, but her character is poor at best, which kind of fits into this lame angle. The match was only one move long, thank goodness, as it was Alexander hitting the lumbar check on Dar to pick up the win. I'm going to say a lame angle, but a quick and somewhat painless ending, 2.75 out of 5.
Yeah, what else can you say about it? It was just painful to watch. I'm like, thank God it's... Yeah, I agree with you on that. Thank God it's over. So...
Now, it appears that WWE is beginning a feud now with Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. Wyatt explained his actions as Rollins taking his name in vain last week, which offended him, which led to the actions we saw at the main event of Monday Night Raw last week. So basically call Wyatt a name and his feelings get hurt is how they represented it last night. Now, for the benefit of those of you who were not in attendance or have never seen how WWE pulls off the Wyatt act, let me share with you what I personally witnessed last night. They cut the lights out, and even from my seat, I could see Bray Wyatt getting underneath the ring, and they popped up a pre-recorded video on the Titantron. And when they went to commercial break, they kept the lights off, but you could still see the figure of Wyatt making his way back to the back. I just wanted to share that part with you guys here on the video. Now, I'm not exactly sure how long the feud will go, because they could be just setting a matchup with them at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, And honestly, Rick, if they prolong it past that pay-per-view, I would honestly be surprised.
Well, you know, you're going to look at it from two different angles. One, first and foremost, let's say that this feud is a complete flop and nobody gets behind it, then yeah, Great Balls of Fire will probably be the end. But, you know, both Rollins and Wyatt have a good rapport of having great feuds, whether they win or lose it. So if that happens, and it should be a success, I can see that going to SummerSlam.
Still, this was an okay segment, and again, Wyatt and Rollins on the microphone. There's really nobody else better on the mic, so I'm going to go 3 out of 5 on this one, Rick.
You know, again, like I said, it was good, but I really wouldn't want to give it a rating. If I did, I'll say 2.5.
Up next, it was Apollo Crews taking on Kalisto for the umpteenth time. Why is WWE trying so hard to push this lame Titus brand angle, Rick? Why?
Well, you know what, let's be honest. Titus sucks as a wrestler. He's clumsy. You know, he has almost no real charisma in the ring, and he does that little fucking hoorah fucking chant. So they're trying to make him like a manager, which is probably not a bad idea. They're bringing Akira Tozawa, if that's how I'm pronouncing it properly.
Yeah, yes, you are.
And they're going to try to bring him in. And for me, that's kind of like a mix between the two. I don't think he would fit in with Apollo Crews. I don't know if they're trying to do a mixed bag or if this is just a way of starting a feud. Time will tell.
You know, once upon a time, they paired up Taka Michinoku with Bradshaw, so I'm wondering if this is WWE's new version of it with Tozawa and Titus O'Neil. You never know. Anyway, the finish of the match was Crews hitting the spin-out powerbomb on Kalisto to pick up the win. I'm going to go 2 out of 5, and I think a 2 out of 5, Rick, to me, that's being generous.
Yeah, again, because they spent more time focusing on Tozawa. The match itself was kind of like lukewarm, like that. You know, it was lukewarm, and it's nothing really super impressive.
Yeah. You know, sometimes I just hate it when WWE just gets really predictable with their angles. Prime example. How they set up the 6-woman tag team match last night with Alexa Bliss, Emma, and Nia Jax taking on Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Sasha Banks. Seeing Emma was indeed a nice surprise, especially after how long she's been out due to injury. So that was one thing, Rick, I was really paying attention to. I wanted to see if she had any ring rust on her. And to me, it didn't look like she had much ring rust at all, if any. And she was taking some pretty good bumps.
She was taking good bumps, but let's be honest, you know, her losing is pretty much what she's a master at. You know, she's great on the eyes, you know, she's hot, good looking, but, you know, it's like Eva Marie. She can't wrestle away out of a paper bag.
I think if they would allow her the moveset that they did in NXT, that would be a completely different story, because she had a really good moveset when she was down there in NXT, and she worked it really well until she got injured. So I want to see them give her that moveset back and actually work, because she was working really stiff, almost like Asuka almost works in the ring, for those of you who follow NXT like I do. But anyway, for the match itself, it kind of went the way I expected it to, with Bliss taking a hike, leaving Emma and Nia Jax by themselves, as the finish of the match was Banks locking on the bank statement on Emma to pick up the win. And I think the real question here, Rick, is where are they going with the Raw Women's Championship? Are they going to try to do something to counter the SmackDown Women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
Well, you know, they're going to have to either way. You know, right now, for me, my biggest problem is they need more female wrestlers. And the fact that they split them up really limits what they can really do. I mean, you know, you can do a 6-on-6 elimination for a #1 contendership. But again, for how long can you wrestle? You know, use the same 6 or 7 women in the same division. It's gonna dry out really quick.
I think with the Mae Young Classic that's upcoming pretty soon, it would give WWE a chance to bring in more credible female talent, and it's going to be really interesting to see not only who they bring in, but who they actually sign to contracts and add to each show's respective divisions. I'm going to go ahead and score the match a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'll give that about, that's a fair estimation. I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a great match, but it was definitely better than some of the other matches. Quick news update, I'm not sure if you heard, Billy, but Paige is already set to return pretty soon. Now, I guess she's been working out. They speculate that she'll be back sometime this summer. So whether she goes back to Raw or SmackDown remains to be seen.
Or she could be involved in the Mae Young Classic as well.
No, I find that hard to believe. I think the Mae Young Classic concept behind that is, like you said before, is to find some new talent.
Well, they could have her in a commentator status, possibly.
Maybe. I see where you're going. They're going to try to do the same thing they did with Austin Aries. It might work.
Well, I'm referring more to the Cruiserweight Classic and what they did with Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan turned out to be an amazing color commentator.
True, but Paige is a commentator. I don't know. Like I said, that's gonna be a mixed bag. And if she comes back, I think it's still gonna be as a wrestling.
Well, up next it was Heath Slater and Rhino taking on The Miz and a mystery partner. Now, first, let's talk about how this match was set up. Because it was Miz looking to recruit Slater in his effort against Kurt Angle, which led to Rhino making the challenge before enjoying more of his crackers and cheese last night. No wonder Rhino looks the way he does. No, but who am I to say anything? You know what I mean, Rick?
I hear you. And I think the bigger angle, or the biggest thing to talk about, is obviously the teasing of Big Cass and then Enzo splitting up. Which
will be something when we get to when we talk about it. But now for the mystery partner for The Miz last night. That bear. Yes. That bear.
Yeah, the bear in a tricycle.
Oh.
Yeah, that was painful to watch. You know,
even from my seat last night, I'm just sitting there looking at it like, what in the blue hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're trying to use it as some kind of a comical factor. Dean Ambrose, honestly, he is definitely, he's a funny guy on the mic. He's funny in the ring and whatever he does. So, to me, it would be surprising that he eventually come on as the bear again the second time. But, yeah.
But here's the thing, though. How did they pull off the switch? I never left my seat during Monday Night Raw last night, and I never saw how they pulled off the switch. Now, I saw them pull him underneath the ring. That I saw. But how did they sneak Ambrose past everybody in the crowd last night to underneath the ring? I pay attention. And I never saw how they did that. How they snuck him past everyone without anyone noticing to pull off the switch.
Well, you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's when the fans are there, like you said, you talked about before how Wyatt, you can see him run back and forth. It's when WWE, or any promotion for that fact, can make a switch without seeing what happened. That shows a great execution.
Yeah, it definitely does, which is why I'm going to give the... by the way, for the finish of the match, Ambrose had already hit Dirty Deeds on Slater. Miz would then freak out. He accidentally would run into Maurice, who fell on the ring apron. And once again, Ambrose would hit Dirty Deeds on Miz and drag Slater on top of Miz for the pin. I'm going to go ahead and score the match a 3.5 out of 5, Rick.
The segment itself, yeah, like I said, it was more of the humor, the side story between Miz and Maurice. That really is what made the show, and it seems to be throughout the whole night that seemed to be the pattern, is they're building storylines as opposed to having good matches.
Up next, it was Gallows and Anderson taking on Enzo and Big Cass, but once again, Cass was attacked from behind backstage, but continued on with the match. It wouldn't last very long as Gallows and Anderson would hit the Magic Killer on Enzo to pick up the win, but before they could inflict any more damage on Enzo, out would come Big Show to make the save. Now, Rick, this actually has me curious as to where they're going with this angle, and I think probably one of the big questions to ask about this is, could this be WWE's way to break up Enzo and Big Cass?
Yeah, as I said a little bit before, I think that's what's going on. They've been teasing it over the past couple of weeks about these quote-unquote mysterious attacks. At first, my thought was that Cass was the one who was really just, you know, like hitting him from behind, and then Cass was faking an attack. But now Big Show becoming into the factor, you've got to wonder, especially considering he kind of gave a little bit of doubt in Enzo's ear, that he's the one that's stirring the pot. He's the one behind the attacks. I could be wrong, but again, if they go that direction and they get rid of these two, it's a good idea, but it's bad timing, because right now the tag team division, again, split up. There's not enough. You need all these tag teams to keep that tag team division significant. Now, should they come back and they mold back together, you've got to split them up, because Cass right now on his own, if he were wrestling on his own, would definitely be a top contender.
2 out of 5 at best on this one, Rick.
Yeah, gotta agree with you.
Up next, it was supposed to be a match with Neville and Rich Swann, but it turned into a beatdown of Swann and a promo directed at Akira Tozawa for some reason. I gotta start watching 205 Live if I want to follow the angles involving the cruiserweights a little bit better, because I suspect that this was something that was started on 205 Live to begin with. I will say this though, Rick, everywhere Neville goes, he gets heat.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I love this new character that he had. They tried to make him as a baby face, and despite his over-the-top incredible moves, the fans just weren't buying it. Now that he has this kind of like a dark character, and I'm liking it. As far as 205 Live show goes, apparently it's not getting great reviews.
Well, I guess that's probably because Mauro Ranallo's not there anymore, but I'll save that for another video. I'm going to go ahead and give this segment a 3 out of 5, Rick.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Same, like I said, the promo was pretty much what made it.
Yeah, definitely. Now it was time for the main event, the 2 out of 3 falls match for the Raw Tag Team Championship, as Sheamus and Cesaro defended the titles against the former champions, the Hardys. Now, was I expecting a title change last night? Not really. I believe they worked the match the way they did as a way of prolonging the angle, possibly till the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. If they do work a match at that show, then the chances of a title change could dramatically go up. But last night, I gotta say, Rick, I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I think nobody knew it was no big deal. Again, you know what? This pisses me off all the time. We see it in Iron Man matches, 2 out of 3 falls, series matches. It always comes down to the last minute or to the last mark. It's always, you know, and I'd like to just, for once, see 2 tag teams, but 1 tag team gets a clean sweep. And I don't think we've seen that in quite some time. As far as the Hardys goes, you know, the fact that it ended up in a complete draw really wasn't, you know, that great. You know, I'm glad that Cesaro and Sheamus got to keep the titles, and I really want this feud to end, because I think it's now time to give other guys a shot. It was great to see the Hardys, but now they need to stop paying it forward and start giving other people spots.
Yeah, which is why I suspect that if they do work the match at Great Balls of Fire for the pay-per-view, that will be the ending, the conclusion to the angle between the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro. But I gotta say, I still was thoroughly entertained with the match and how it was worked. For those of you who are wondering exactly how each fall went, first it was Sheamus with the bro kick to Jeff Hardy for the first fall. Then on the second fall, it was Matt Hardy with the twist of fate to Cesaro. And for the third fall, they brawled on the outside to a double countout, which resulted in a draw for the match. Now, I gotta say, where they go next, if they do work the match at Great Balls of Fire, will not only be, as I suspect, the finale to the angle, but who they put the titles on will be interesting to see. I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 5 on the main event, Rick.
Well, first off, let me say, you know, again, I've talked about how I feel about these 2 out of 3 fall matches, but I want to get on to, I don't think they should give the titles to the Hardys, because then, in theory, or according to story, you know, like WWE storylines, they, you know, Cesaro and Sheamus get an automatic rematch. If that's the case, you know, it makes no sense. It would go all the way on to SummerSlam, and the Hardys, they, you know, they won the title. They lost the title, and then they lost, then they get their title shot again. So their title They're right for a title run is off the mark. So now they need to start pushing somebody else. And I hope it starts next week.
Overall score of Raw this week gets a 3 out of 5, with best match of the night going to the main event, with worst match of the night going to the cluster F that was Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander. Rick, over to you. Your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week?
Well, I gotta say, first off, giving it a 2 out of 5 or 2.5 out of 5 is a gift. Me, I get it at a 1.5. There was more segments and promos and side stories than there were matches, and most of the matches, was just junk. The main event, okay, I'll say it's the best, but that's not saying much considering the rest of the quality of the matches weren't that great. Best segment of the night, opening segment, with Samoa Joe getting right in Brock Lesnar's face, and that's what I love about Samoa Joe.
Well, guys and gals, that's been our thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. We want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw? Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure you slam that like button. Like it, champ. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Well, we are on Facebook in a group section called HWR Chat Room. I'm currently rebranding. We are Hardcore Wrestling Radio, but the podcast for me, I think, has run its course. So now we're just doing reviews. I write a lot of creative blogs. We do cover all the news and much, much more. We want fans to come in there, say what they want, how they want to say it about wrestling, and, again, love the creative blogs. That's what it's all about.
Be sure you guys check me out on my weekly Twitch live reaction streams for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live every Monday and Tuesday, starting at the same times as Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live on twitch.tv/WrestleGamer. Be sure you check me out and follow me over there as also. And also, guys and gals, if you want to see more of Wrestling Talk with awesome gameplays, as you will see more Wrestling Talk coming back to the channel now that I've gotten everything situated on here. If you want to see more of Wrestling Talk and awesome gameplays, well, you know the two ways you got to do it. You got to leg up the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to turn on notifications, so that way you guys will never miss out on another one of my videos here on my channel. So, with my thanks to Rick Head from HWR, I am your friendly neighborhood Wrestle Gamer, reminding all of you guys out there to stay awesome. Bye, guys!